Well, okay. Good morning, everyone. um, Thanks for joining this interactive webinar with Atarim. I will come back to Atarim later. First, an introduction to everybody that don't know me. So my name is Martijn Kamphuis. I'm the Director of Vendor Relations and Strategic Alliances at Realtor Register. And today's session or webinar is exclusively for Realtor Register resellers or partners. In today's session, we will start with a short conversation, and I will introduce our guest. Then we move on to a live demo, and in the end, there's room for questions. I think Vito will also ask you for a little bit of interaction during his part. So please, if you have a question or an answer, type them in the chat. You find them at the bottom, I think. Otherwise, we will post a message there and you will see it pop it up. So again, thanks for joining. But also, thanks for joining today to Vito. Vito is the CEO and co-founder of Atarim. Not only that, maybe some of you also recognize him as one of the band people from Lords of Uptime, known from Cloudfest and MSP Global and some other events. Vito, great to have you here. For partners that don't know you or don't know Atarim, can you maybe give a short introduction about yourself, about Atarim, and maybe just in a nutshell what problem you solve?
Okay, that's perfect. First of all, thank you for having me, Martijn, and thanks for everyone that is joining us today. Yes, I will try and ask some questions, so feel free to respond here in the chat. That would be very nice. So yeah, I'm Vito. I'm the founder and CEO here at Atarim. Back in the day, I used to be a freelancer slash touring musician, touring all over Europe, doing 200 plus shows a year as a musician, while still building websites from the back of the van. You know, Martijn, stealing Wi-Fi from McDonald's as we're driving on the autobahn, kind of thing. And then once I turned 30, and it wasn't nice to live in a smelly van with 4 other guys anymore, I settled here in London and built up a web agency that scaled pretty fast. That then evolved into a WordPress plugin for feedback and communication, and now turned out to be Atarim, which is a platform that helps streamline the design operations, client feedback, quality assurance, and everything like that. And I'm going to show that here in a second. Effectively, we're cutting delivery times by more than half. So whatever time it takes people to build projects right now or tackle any related tasks, with Atarim, we can cut it in half. And so I'm excited to share all of this here with everyone. We work with currently there's more than 60,000 teams that are using our solution, with 1.7 million team members, stakeholders, and clients. And at the same time, a lot of those folks are the hosting companies. The largest hosting companies out there use us fully as the layer for the delivery system for their do-it-for-me operations. And we'll talk about that as well. Professional services for hosts as well. This is a very interesting topic. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thank you very much. And you already said something about cutting half the delivery time or the feedback time. And maybe that's also a good topic to start with, right? So what do you see, or what do you think is today's issue with getting the feedback? So we just discussed it before. We are also building a new website, right? But and also when I see that, we have I think one of the best agencies in the Netherlands that is helping us with that. But now if we need to give feedback, it's via email with screenshots, and it's like,
Right.
yeah. But I think you will see way more all over the world, right? So can you give us a little bit of feedback? What you see happening a lot? Is there Excel maybe, or is it screenshots, Word documents, emails, whatever?
Okay, cool. So you're right. The vast majority of people use emails, screenshots, trying to describe in many words instead of visually kind of show it. And what is interesting through that is we actually ran a deep survey with more than 600 professionals in our space to understand that. And I think that a lot of the folks that are joining us can relate to this because usually if if I'm a professional and I built a website or a couple of websites before, um, I can build a small business website, like a 5-pager, in about 1 day, maybe 3 days, if I kind of tinker with it even further. But with a client, a stakeholder, or even a team member, the 3 days become, on average, 4 to 6 weeks. And that huge gap, in fact, every day of actual work takes a week to deliver. And that we're tackling exactly that extra 6 days. You can build with however you like, with whatever tools and
Hmm.
support kind of those things. But we tackle the extra 6 days that takes just to back and forth. And I can give you another example, even Martin as well. Let's say that I'm just making a single slide within a presentation. If I know what I'm doing in Canva or even a
Yeah,
PowerPoint, I drag and drop and I'm done in 5 minutes.
yeah,
But if I need you to approve this, if we're both on it, it's gonna be at least 30 minutes. But in
yeah,
fact, it might take even a week of me waiting for you, you waiting for me until we get to it, and just so we're obsessed about correcting that, and that's where the biggest leverage is, and therefore we are able to create the biggest impact. While the
yeah,
creation time, the build time, has been already squashed so much over the past couple of decades, even, and especially now with some folks that have already implemented AI into their workflow, that already got squashed so much so that we're already in the diminishing returns on that component. What does take time is the approvals, the qualification, the compliance to other assets, the feedback from clients, all of these kind of stuff. That's where we live. Yeah.
yeah,
So the game is to reduce this 500, 700% increase to as little as possible.
yeah. And that's not only tools, that's also efficiency in the workflow, right? And that's also notifying people, etc. And then the other part you already touched on, that DIFM,
Yes.
right? Do it for me. What we also see at Real-Time Register is that smaller hosting providers, but also agency, more and more move to each other, right? So
Right.
they both started in a different corner, let's say, right? But they all move into each other. So the agency also wants to do more hosting, or it's all cloud hosted, right? So they're also more on the server side. The hosting provider wants to yeah, build up a good relationship, want to increase ARPU, right? Or they want to reduce churn, so they need to have activation on domain names and
Right.
email packages with building a website. That's something that you also can do, of course. But then in the software you have your 6 colleagues with you, right? Who are always going with you to all the events. And can you tell us a little bit more about that, or is it maybe in your presentation, or?
Yeah. We talk about the agents.
Yeah,
6 agents, yes. What we realized, and we've been doing client feedback and been used by tens of thousands of teams for quite a few years now. And maybe if I take back, 'cause we're going to talk a little bit about the AI stuff, just to give a bit of a reference there. A few years ago, back in 2020, I was very fortunate to be one of the first 1,000 people that got access to GPT-2. Back in the day, Martijn.
yeah,
It was in beta and it was like just an API, but we ended up building the first implementation of AI into WordPress as Bertha.ai back then. ChatGPT came out and squashed us like the bug that we were, But the point is that I was kind of following this world very much from the early days of this transformation that we're all experiencing, and I could see the disruption coming into our space dramatically. And so our approach to building product was always uh, um, we're just digitizing human experiences. So if we wanted, again, with that point and click system, it's exactly what you and I would do, Marta. And if we would be sitting together in a room, we would point at the thing and tell you what you need to change and all those kind of stuff. And I'll show that in a little bit. But now with the world of AI, the feedback that we're having together maybe can be automated so that the seniors don't need to actually go through and review every single piece of work done by the juniors, maybe even execute on some of these stuff, compliance with brand guidelines and all of those kind of things. So we've created these 6 agents. Each one is an expert in their own field, trained on the data that we've collected over the past 6 years from human feedback, anything from freelancers to Fortune 500 companies, fully anonymized, of course, but critical feedback on actual pieces of work. That, along with the latest models and all of those kind of things, create some sort of magic. I hope I'll share it and
Yeah.
people will tell me. But that's really is what I'm going to share here. Basically, this is the very first fully automated manual QA. Which I think is a kind of interesting proposition to think about it in this way, because automated QA is always mapped out to something static. If it changes, then the whole test breaks.
Yeah.
But the way that we actually review websites is very manual, is very human-like. When we look at things visually, we look at the code a little bit. We have a bunch of tools to check tests, text and accessibility and broken links, and we do that usually around 90 minutes if we do it properly, and we collapse that to 2. And so,
Wow.
so that's a kind of some of the stuff of how we're going into those agents,
Yeah.
and yeah, and you'll see them through the demo for sure, with each one in their own personality for sure.
Cool. So actually, if you have the Atarim licenses, right, you have the whole band behind you of experts, right,
Yes.
in each category that they are active.
Yes,
Okay.
whether this is design, user experience, accessibility, SEO, GEO now as well, very important,
Yeah.
functionality, technical QA, all of those kind of things are built into the baked into those agents. Each one have their own skill set and their own access to different tools that allow them to complete the work like a human would.
Cool. So, well, I of course know it, but every time I hear you talk about it, I get excited
That's awesome.
to see the latest version. So maybe this is a good moment to dive in. So yeah, if
Perfect.
you can show us a little bit more, then yeah,
Okay,
let's
awesome.
go.
So let me share my screen, and I'm going to start by just taking us through just a handful of slides here, just so we're on the same page as to what we're doing here. And first of all, what is Atarim? At the core, we tackle website design operations, and what we're going to be talking about is the opportunities that AI brings to our space here through some of these tools. We help website and design operations scale at the core, so you deliver a lot faster with more clarity, higher quality work, and through that, there's basically 2 points that I'm going to try and share with everyone on this call. The most effective way to deliver website and creative work. So if you're building or managing websites, you can cut that project and task delivery time by more than half while increasing the quality of the work and your customer satisfaction at the same time. And we'll see some examples of that as well. And if you're a hosting provider, through our DFM in a box service, you will gain the biggest growth opportunity that exists on the market nowadays. Marta, and I don't know any software that can create that same transformation. And you're exactly correct that those 2 worlds are colliding. In fact, I had a talk about this in CloudFest last year, and we surveyed our own community because we run the Web Agency Summit, which is the biggest kind of event for the agency space. And over there, we surveyed the attendees to try and understand all kinds of different questions and kind of industry benchmarks. And one of the interesting points there is that 53% of agencies run their own hosting.
Yeah.
And that was not the case a few years ago. It was more around the 15-20% for sure. So it's definitely moving there. And we can also see that while the bigger players on the hosting space have been doing DFM for decades, now the smaller players, through technology, through some of the tooling that is now available, are able to deliver at the same level and provide the same level of service. Now, at the same time, the different operations that hosters do is not the custom work, the beautiful work that sometimes an agency would do. It's more like of that McDonald approach, that someone needs a website. It's going to be cheaper, but less quality than going to an agency, but also quicker, at that
Yeah.
same time. So it just helps people beyond the hurdle of the DIY. It's more of an expansion of DIY, the way I see this, rather than taking a lot from the agencies, because the way agencies are set up is not necessarily to build the 1,000 websites a month or
Mhm.
500 websites a month. It's about doing a few high quality, deep thinking work
Yeah.
with a client. So these are the kind of the two spectrums here that we're going to be talking about. And and we also talked about this kind of problem. I just kind of have an interesting visualization of this component and how that really feels when you're actually doing the work. And I'm sure that people can relate. Hopefully, you can tell me in the chat if you see that expansion in your own work between days to weeks, really. And at the core, DIFM is huge, or the professional services compared. We hear a lot about the Wixes and the Webflow and the and all of those kind of AI automatic kind of DIY type of tools. But at the end of the day, people just want you to fix their car. They don't necessarily want to learn every single bolt within that kind of thing there. Just want to talk to it and say like, yeah, just fix it for me. So this is really what where the agencies live, and that's what we see. A lot of the hosts are kind of starting to tread in these areas as well. So basically, we tackle the entire workflow from the forms, the intake forms, into the client feedback, the email communication, to the internal reviews, consistency and QA, and of course the system designs, the workflow management automations that run throughout the entire delivery system. So with this, let's dive in, Martin.
Yeah. Let's go.
So I'll share my screen here, another screen.
And
And I
maybe
just
it's
found, yes,
it's
please.
it's good to try to have a comparison, right? But so about the different part, I think you can say that if you want to have your own unique house, right, then you go to an architect, right, and you have
Right.
sessions, and you all
I
create
like
your
that analogy.
own house, and there's just one of them, right, and there's no one else. Or you go to a construction company with a project, right, and you go there and say like, oh, hey, from all these houses you're building here, I want to have one of those, right?
Yeah,
And then in detail they're just a little bit different, the kitchen is in a different
right.
way or whatever, right? But it's like, and I think that's the same with different and the agency, right? So if you want to have your specific fully branded unique website that's 100% for your needs, right, then you go to the agency. If it's also okay to have like you have your own bakery store or whatever, and you want to have your professional website, right, but it doesn't need to be a website of 50K to let it
Yes.
build, right, then you can use different, right?
I agree. So first of all, now you made me feel bad because I live in a different house, but at the same time, this is I totally agree with you. This is a great analogy for this, and they operate in completely different price points. So
Yeah.
usually the hosts offer those services at a price point that the agencies don't even. These are the trash leads, is how we called it. Because I used to run when I was running the agency, you would get those people as like, I have $1,000, build me Facebook, like,
Yeah.
come on, it's not serious. So we were starting at 5K at the agency there. So it definitely operates at a different level of fidelity and therefore level of price as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I found this random website, Martin. I thought that would be a good
Yeah.
example for us to explore here. I also know that you guys are rebuilding this website, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
this would be a good opportunity to trash the old implementation, if I may. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready for it.
So the first thing that I want to take people through is actually going into the dashboard, and we're going to come back to your website here in a second to talk about the project types. So you can drop in a link to any website that exists out there as long as it's public. If it is a project that is that you're working on, even better is to either install the Chrome extension that allows you to collaborate freely across the entire web, or install the WordPress plugin that exists right there, or the custom script where we're providing you and you can put it on the website. What is the difference? This is the quick and and dirty way to do it, which is what I'm going to do now, working from the outside. But once you're connected to the website, there's a bunch of magic that happens there, because we can actually sometimes even make changes to the website depending on the platform. From this small feedback that you will see here, there's auto logins to WordPress and things that are pretty cool for your daily workflow. And you work in the website, so you're not actually sending your clients to Atarim. They literally just see it within their own work. So I did a quick and dirty way because I don't have access to your website, Martijn. And as you can see, sorry, I forgot to mention one last thing here, which is the design. You can upload any PDF, any JPEG, any PNG, any PSD, Photoshop file, Adobe Illustrator file, and you can even import from Figma. And I'm also happy to announce that we just released our Figma plugin. So if you're already sitting in Figma, you can just search the plugins there. It's completely free to install it, and you can deploy things from Figma into Atarim. Why would you do that? You gain version control, which does not exist in Figma, and extremely important, especially as we're working with clients and understand how many revisions did we actually go through before we actually started building. You gain statuses for tasks, prioritization, a bunch of AI functionality that comes in and clarifies the work for you. So it's like having Figma comments on massive steroids is how we talk about this, right? Now, let's go to the website. The first thing that I want to show is client feedback. Let's say that, Martijn, you are the client in this case. You had an agency build this, and then you want to say that this text is incorrect. We need to change this text, right? You might come in and say, like, change this text to this. Yeah. And you will see that we're basically collecting, let me just here, 1 second. You will see that Clero is stepping in straight away and check if this message is vague or clear. And I'll show you something cool here. Let's say you're an annoying client, Martijn, and you're coming in and say, make this pop, right? Or just kind of be a little vague with what we're actually describing. Clero is going to try and clarify this in real time, which is basically what we call a clarification cycle. That takes a week on average. And in fact, 66% of all email communications that are about creative work are too vague to action in the first shot, which requires at least one clarification cycle. Let's get on a call. Tell me what the hell you're talking about. Send me a screenshot. Where is this exactly? Send me the URL. With Atarim, even pre-AI, that reduced it to around 24%. But this brings it to 0 because now the clarification cycle happens in real time in front of the client. So they can say, yes, this is actually what I actually meant. That's one implementation of the AI. So now, one thing that I want to make sure that we kind of communicate is that there's a bunch of different functionality here that is visible to me because I am the professional working on this project. The clients have a cleaner view, and we have those two mentalities throughout the entire product. For professionals, we give you depth and functionality in everything that you see here. For clients, they want to give feedback and get the F out. And so this is exactly the kind of way that we're consuming this. So if you click this, just copy the link, share it with anyone, and they can come in, leave feedback, way less functionality, just focus on them and let them move on with their day. They don't have access to a bunch of the AI stuff that we're going to be seeing here. These are professional tools for the professionals. With this, let's move on to that, and let's look at what we have here on the side. So here I can leave comments for human to human and just have like generic messages that sit on the entire page. But if I click on this button, then the agents come in. And the agents are seated throughout the entire application. You saw Clero here as one example. He's the project manager that leads a lot of these processes. We can even just go in and chat to them and say like, Lexi, what would be a better sentence for this section? And because Lexi knows our brand guidelines, what good looks like, what is the brand voice and everything around that, the target audience, she will be able to produce an accurate result that sits directly in the work itself. Now, if we're going into the review process itself, so let's see what we have here. What is this for, first of all? So you can see that we have some examples here that are more of exploratory reviews, Martijn. For example, I can just ask it to look at my design and make it better. based on the discovery that we're going to see here in a second, the project brief. I can find accessibility gaps, increasing my conversion rate, which is what I did for you here. So we'll see how we can get you some more leads, Martin, together here.
Cool.
Make the page faster. Anything that basically I would ask a team of professionals to do, I can come here to do this. But I want to flag a few interesting professional use cases here. For example, if you click on this, you have your library of prompts. This way you can systemize your work as an agency, or especially through a DFM operation. You want to have consistent reviews that are done every single time. And so, for example, let's look at this one. This is only for homepage. It's a Figma a comparison and a copy document comparison and meta tags comparison. Basically, it's a compliance check. Check against this Figma file, this document with all of the copy for the website, and look into the meta details of the website and give me everything on the page and beyond. And you can see that it goes deep, like you would explain to a new team member that comes in. You give them a checklist of everything that they need to explore. So now this is a repeatable system, inviting those 4 agents, Pixel, the designer, Index, the SEO guy, Lexi in charge of brand voice, and of course, Clero to orchestrate and manage this project. And as you deploy it, they are automatically deployed into the process here, so we can start running this review. What usually takes 90 minutes takes 6 minutes total if I'm reviewing this entire website here, Martin, not just a single page. Now, that's like a few interesting use cases. I'll give you one more that I really like, is this one. Run a review for the homepage before we're showing to a client, a small business. This is a small website on a tight budget, so skip advanced suggestions and focus on quick wins to avoid embarrassment in front of our client. It's too late for fundamental changes. We're not trying to fix everything. Priority on high impact issues and blah, blah, blah. Score the website and so on. So we can do this before we ship this to a client, after or before we take the website to live and we want to run a compliance check or check that everything is working properly. After we launched it, to do like a post-launch check that all the links are not sending back to the staging site, that the SEO is set up properly, everything around this, and of course exploratory opportunities. Maybe even we see users using this now, doing pitches with clients. They would come in and ask a few, they would come into here, run a review, and then come to you, Martin, and tell you, look, your current website sucks because of this, and this. Let us do it for you, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
So let's go into the throughout this review process. And basically, we're observing 5 different elements here. The first thing is the discovery. I just clicked a button, Martin, and what takes about 90 minutes with a client to collect, or basically, again, a week until we get to that meeting, and it delays the project by a week, happened here with literally a click of a button, and we're collecting, it figured out the target audience, the tone of voice, and the business overview, the product and services that you guys are offering, your unique value proposition. You tell me if it's correct, Martin. Let's see what we got here. One integrated platform combining domain registration, security products, and licensing with an API-first approach and over 20 years of industry experience targeted at high-volume partners.
Yeah, well, that's for let's say the old Realtor Register. That's true,
Yes.
right? But that's also the
website.
reason why we are building a new website, right? So, but good catch.
Yeah, so this is exactly that. We can find what exists, but now that it's mapped out, now you kind of like, okay, what is missing? So if it didn't hit it, which obviously AI is like clay, it's not marble, you know. We use it to create something more. And so we're trying to get you to 90%, 95%. Everything is mapped out, and of course now you make the modifications. Cool.
Yeah.
This is who we are today, but this is who we want to become. Right?
Yeah.
Primary goal of the website, enable signups and platform adaptation, any kind of secondary goals, success metrics, brand assets, anything around this, even inspiration websites to look into. It cited GoDaddy and Cloudflare in this case, which I think is good examples, clear marketplace and reseller tools. I think that's good examples here. Then after we did the discovery, we ran the review, and I'll show you that review that came in here. And basically it goes, so number 1 is the discovery. Number 2 is strategy, which is what we got here. from Clero telling us, nice work. I reviewed this. Here are the strategic gap in your implementation, the headline and USP clarity. The H1 is generic and doesn't quickly answer why choose real-time register for high-volume partners. A sharper, benefit-focused headline would increase click-through rate by 10 to 25%, and, which I totally agree with here. And then to the primary CTA, yeah. CTA friction, there's a bunch of different elements here, the form and the funnel function, what does great look like? And basically the AI gives this to us to read if we choose, but mostly it gives this so that it can hand off to the team. And that's exactly the third step here. We went from discovery to strategy to handoff. As you can see, Pixel and Lexi are invited to do the work here from a design perspective and messaging perspective, what they should focus on. And then after that, we're going into tactics. So let's see what some of the stuff that we got here, Martijn. The search input blends into background, lacks clear CTA. Look, where's the button? Where's the button? I really don't know. Let's see what else we have here.
Yeah, I think there is no button, but I can understand it's confusing because when you type, it's directly giving you the answer, right? So it's even better than the button, let's say, but it's I can imagine it's confusing.
Yeah. And our goal here, Martin, is to just get you more leads. So we're only looking at the website from a perspective of how can we squeeze more kind of click-through rates and conversion rates from different elements of the website. Yeah, so it's talking about the UI, not a guiding prompt, domain availability checker, rephrase, yeah, instead of this. We have all of these kind of stuff here around the CTA is vague and visually equal to other links, not really a good kind of representation. It's talking about the text here. The long headline is descriptive but hard to scan because it's too wide. This is a big no-no in design. You don't want to put sentences that are this wide across the board. And it continues to give us all of these kind of stuff. The orange provincial band lacks reinforcing value or urgency. So it has registered domains at cost price, but offers no brief supporting proof, urgency, or KPI, saving percent, time limited, near the CTA. Drive the sale instead of just talking about it from outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it continues and does this entire review, which are the tactics, each one of those things. Now, we can accept each one of those comments and continue the conversation. In some platforms, we can actually do it. And I will talk about this already next. But from the tactics, we move to the last component here, which is the summary. So here it tells us, it knows who I am, Martijn. I set myself up as, I think, a beginner web designer for this demo on my dashboard. So, and this is the first question that is asked, so that the AI can tailor how it speaks to you. If you're a professional, you get pixels, you get lines of code. If you're a beginner, then you get more generic explanations, why to do this, how to do this. And also it kind of summarizes how much time should I allocate if I want to improve the conversion rate of this entire homepage here. Yeah. Priorities and everything around this. So that's the automated manual QA. Incredible for all kinds of different use cases we saw. Anything that you would ask a professional to come in and do, you can now ask the AI to come in and review based on your guidelines, based on your criteria. And really the difference for this compared to anything else that exists out there is the level of fidelity, Martijn. Because we are bound to an element, and we're looking at the work from multiple different perspectives, desktop, tablet, mobile, each viewport, the code that sits behind it. That's a level of context that does not exist in any other kind of generic solutions, plus backed by the model that runs behind this, that is already trained on how feedback is provided to actually generate action around this. So the whole thing goes way deeper. Therefore, the most accurate way to do this type of work nowadays.
Yeah.
Please, you have a question.
It really looks good. We received a question.
Yes, please.
From Ensjan. He asked, what languages can Atarim handle for input and reaction? So input and giving feedback. Is it also available in Dutch, he asked.
So let's change it to Dutch, and we're now in Dutch. I spoke to it in English, so it responded in English. If you speak to it in Dutch, it should respond in Dutch. I haven't personally tested this one because I wouldn't understand what it tells me, but I understand that it can. But also we have like the UI implemented. We have a bunch of awesome, amazing partners from all around Europe, and so we definitely take that into account.
Cool. That's really cool.
Let me move back to English so I understand what it means. Tal, yeah, that's the language.
Yeah.
Right. So we saw how we saw the project types, we saw the client feedback, the visual human to human communication, we saw the automated manual QA, and now let's go a little bit into task management. So all of these things, how do we actually move the project along? And that all happens through the dashboard, where you have for the people that are tinkering with the things, the professionals, the inbox. The inbox is designed for rapid feedback, and you can see that we're collecting the screenshot with the exact location of every request that comes our way, the screen size, the browser version, anything that you would need to actually tackle this. And if you click this button, it's going to take you directly to this website, so you can start working on it straight away. If you're in WordPress, that will actually take you in logged in already, so you don't need to share passwords with freelancers, team members, that you just can manage the entire access to your entire website fleet directly through Atarim as well. And I have all my projects here, but one more thing that I want to point out from here is the email inbox, kind of like a built-in Zendesk or Freshdesk that automatically moves tasks that came in from email into the relevant website projects that you're working on right now. So you and your clients have a nice way to kind of see all of the different requests that they've asked for, all of the stuff that you've completed, Martin. And that's the psychological kind of kick to all of this. Instead of having the client just focus on the problems ahead, they can see the successes behind as well at the same time.
Yeah. And there are also a lot of pre-built automation flows in there, right? But also, for instance,
Yes.
to Jira, I know from my past that a lot of agencies are using Jira, or hosting providers are using Jira, so it's also integrated there, right? So it's going back and forth, I think.
100%. And you took us directly into the last component of the demo here, which is the workflow design, which happens here. This is even getting an upgrade in 2026 to include a lot of the AI activities in here. So within the next few months, this will be with the AI connected to this already automated automation system that moves tasks from people. That will allow us to complete the loop and actually have autonomous workflows that run in the background. Every time that I add a website, check all of these things and accomplish these particular items, right? Every time that a task is moved to in progress, try and do it. And if you can't, flag this and assign it to Martine, right? Things like that.
Cool.
So all of this can be designed from here, including what you mentioned. So let's say we have a task added to the real-time register website that we just worked on, and the status is set to in progress. Wait 1 day before you, so that we allow the person to actually complete the task. But if they don't, only then notify Martine, right? Because then you need to step in and do like a whoosh to make sure
Yeah.
people are moving, right? But for here as well, you have all the integrations that we're already connected with, and of course with Zapier as well, Pabbly, Make, and everything in between.
Cool. Really cool. Okay. Well, this was a lot of information,
Yes.
mostly about the software and the AI agents in there. I'm also a little bit looking a little bit at the clock. Maybe it's good to just in a nutshell tell about different what you can do for agencies, how it works. Is it white labeled? Where does it
Perfect.
start? Where does it stop? A bit
So,
like that.
so let me tell you a little bit about how this kind of kicked off. Basically, what happened is that we started getting the hosting companies using the software component, people that have already been doing different type of work, and the level of scale is completely on a different level compared to our standard users, or our kind of like where my background is, which is more on that industry and the agency space, where you might do like 30 projects a year. If you're a
Yeah.
freelancer, you might do 10 projects a year. But those hosts that are doing this to us, some of them do more than 2,000 projects per month. through the system. And that level of scale just blew my mind when I realized that. And that's when I started coming to CloudFest and getting a lot more involved in this kind of in this industry.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that now we're the leading solution for driving that was a few years ago. Now we're the leading solution for fulfillment teams that are using this within the hosting space. But at the same time, there's a bunch of partners, a bunch of hosts that want to do this, try to do this, fail to do this in all kinds of different capacity. Margins are all over the place. Refunds for a level of quality that is not there. A bunch of back and forth with clients. Exactly the problems that we've been solving for the past
Yeah.
6 years. And so we decided to create a service called DFM in a box. DFM in a box is everything in a box that comes from of course the proprietary software, and to us it's a way to, we call it Martin, getting high on our own supply. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
Dutch, you
Yeah.
probably know the exercise, right? So making sure that we keep using our own software at mass scale, that's like our initiative to making sure that we continue to do that. We're currently serving some of the biggest providers there, including Liquid Web, Hosting.com, Web Host Canada, and many other folks from our space, where we come in to a place where there is no channel. We build that on the back of hosting and DIY type of offerings, show, and we have all the playbooks to drive the traffic into those to those elements, become profitable within 30 days of implementation. And because of the value of professional services compared to software, compared to hosting accounts, what happens is that you literally 7x at least your ARPU by incorporating this. So I'll give you an example. A website on average is like $1,250, right? That's like the
Yeah.
average price that we're usually looking at, and super cheap, quick, templated, not the type of work that agencies want to deal with usually. Some of our hosting partners actually involve their agency program so that they refer work into this channel, and then they get rewarded through this as well. So all of their trash leads comes to the different in a box kind of idea. And so the average yearly ARPU for an agency is around $110, right? If you're doing some, that's
Yeah.
kind of like for the SMB space. Imagine that you're expanding this yearly ARPU to 1,110 within the first 30 days of starting this relationship with the potential client. All the CAC is done, and the client is activated, so there's no reason for them to churn. Now, this is one way, but what I really like is the care plan model, where about 30 to 40% of every hosting company out there, for every hosting company out there, 30 to 40% of the customer base, the existing customer base, needs someone to take care of the website. A lot of agencies don't even want to do this type of work. It's like
Yeah.
fixing the printer type of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But it's also a great way to generate recurring revenue and again, expand the output dramatically, because you're going from a $10 hosting plan for an SMB to $60 on average for these types of plans. So already like dramatically increasing this per month. And so the two things together just present currently the biggest opportunity in the hosting space for expansion. Nothing can beat that in terms of this. And with the technology that exists nowadays, scale is not a problem. Consistent margins are not a problem. In fact, we guarantee margins
Yeah.
for our partners. So across the board, it makes it's just the time has come that DIFM is as easy as selling software.
Yeah. And I think that's great, right? Because, of course, next to all of this, what you just said is also that you don't need to hire new people that are focused on building websites, right? But
Nothing.
it is
Yeah.
white labeled, so
Yes.
your customer still has the idea that they are only working with you and you are the main point of contact, right?
Exactly that. Yes.
Cool.
And in fact, what we need from a partner is one person that dedicates 1 day per week. In 4 days per month, you can 7x your output.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, wow. Okay. Looking at the time, we're at the end of the webinar. I'm not sure if there are any questions. If you have a question, please pop them in the chat. I will try to answer them. In the meantime, Vito, if the people in this joined this webinar, should take something home from what we discussed, what would you say that's the most important thought or most important thing that they need to think about if they're sitting on their couch with a cup of coffee tonight?
So first of all, not about work.
Good
If
advice.
that's your scenario, if you're already sitting on the couch, but from our perspective, like the way that the industry is moving, and we can see that across the board. It's not only it's not unique to our space. Is that we're going into that autonomous reality, and as we're getting closer and closer to this, what will matter is, oh, first of all, there's two things to gain here. One is the literal gift of unlimited scale for all of us as operators in this space. So the overhead is shrinking every single day. Exactly from the back on the back of that, you can
Yeah.
be a manager without being a manager, essentially. And so that's one really important kind of thing that is that everyone should be just aware that this is where it's going, whether we like it or not. This is just the what is happening around us, and at the same time, the depth and the level of skill that someone puts into their craft is going to put the standardized type of commoditized operations and give that the edge. So find what you're good at. And the AI will never go beyond the McDonald
Hmm.
17-year-old that sits there and this,
Yeah, yeah,
unless instructed exactly how to do that type of work, which is where our skills really shine. So I
yeah,
believe in both. I believe a lot are gonna be displaced, unfortunately, and they need to find a way to kind of deal with this. And at the same time, there's a huge opportunity for creatives, for people that are thinkers, to build and thrive in this new world.
yeah. Cool. Okay, well, if you ask me, I really enjoyed this chat, and I hope all the others here also did. Just curious to know. I know you're going to Cloudfest again, and you will
Yes.
play. Do you take one of the guitars behind you to Cloudfest, or is there another one?
So back in the day, we would take all the equipment and just fly to from the UK to mainland and do the shows over there.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you're not allowed because of Brexit. You're not
Ah.
allowed to take all of these kind of stuff. So they
Okay.
rent a guitar for me. I gave the
Yeah.
spec. This way, I don't need to carry this to our meeting,
It's even better.
Martin. Yeah.
It's even better. So a true rock star now, right? Everything
Yeah,
is there for
way
you.
more than before. Now,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the cool thing. Now, like back then, we were slamming it. We were just
Yeah,
doing it to do the work, and now we're doing it like adults, like tech people. So every time we meet together, it's like nice, and yeah, it's a
yeah.
different class.
Cool. Well, looking forward to see you in person again during Cloudfest. To everybody here, thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed. If you have interest in one of the two solutions that Atarim is offering, please reach out to us. Contact the account management team, or send us an email, call us, whatever. And yeah, if necessary, then we can hook you up with the right person.
Yeah,
Um,
perfect. I would love to dive deeper with anyone that has joined us and kind of share.
yeah,
We had a short amount of time. There's a lot more depth that can be
yeah,
explored for sure.
yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And yeah, if you're going to Cloudfest within a month, I'm really looking forward to see everybody there
Yes.
and drink some beer maybe, or have a nice conversation. Right. That's what Cloudfest is bringing us. So, thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Martin.